All right, welcome back, students. We're doing 2.4b, 2.4b, and we're going to be doing factoring. So write that really big on your page, factoring. And I'm going to give you two examples here, and then we'll check it out in your homework. So I'm on page 50. You could write these factoring problems right here on page 50. All right, so if you noticed with all of our homework, it was already factored. You already had these uh, two binomials multiplied equal to 0. So you had it factored already, because what this is before it's factored, this would be c squared minus 2c plus c minus 2. So this would be c squared minus c minus 2. So that's what it looks like before it's factored. Now this one is much more difficult to solve for 0. In fact, I don't know how to do it here without factoring first. So what we're going to learn today is how to turn this into this. How to turn this into this. Basically, from here to here, it's multiplication. From here to here, it's division. So now don't be scared by that division, because most of the dividing that we're going to be doing is simple division. So let's say we have 5x squared plus 10x equals 0. So it's fairly difficult to solve as it stands right now. So what I do when factoring, what you're doing is you're looking for anything that's common in all of the parts of the polynomial. So if I look here, what do I have common in these two? Well, I have a 5 and a 10. So one thing that I have common is a 5. By in common, what I mean is both of these are divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So I have whole numbers after I divide them. So they're both divisible by 2. And the other thing they both have, this one has 2 x's in it, and this one has 1 x. So they both have at least 1 x. I can't take 2 x's out because there's no 2 x's here. So I can take 1 x out. And so what I do is I factor this out. And so 5x squared divided by 5x is just x. And how can I check it? Well, if I did 5x times x, I would get 5x squared. So I'm dividing by a 5, so I get a 1. I'm divided x squared by an x, so I just get x. So I'm left with 1x. And then here, 10 divided by 5, well, that's 2. X divided by x, that's just 1. So I'm left with 2 times 1, or 2. So there's the factoring portion. And now I have 5x times 1x plus 2 equals 0. And now I can go ahead and split this up. 5x equals 0. And x plus 2 equals 0. And I get 5 by 5. I get x equals 0, like we did yesterday, just solving it. So x equals 0 and x equals negative 2. So my first step is I have to factor. And that's the part that we're going to practice quite a bit. The rest of it, we practiced yesterday, but that's the part we're going to practice today. So next problem. Let's do 3x squared minus x equals 0. 3x squared minus x. So to factor out, you need to see, what do I have in both of these? What do I have? If you said x, you're correct. They both contain an x. Now, just so it makes it easier to follow, I'm going to put a 1 right here, right? Because x times 1x is the same as x. So I've got 1 right there, 1x. So if I factor out an x, let's see what I'm left with. 3x squared divided by x. Well, 3 divided by 1 is 3. X squared divided by x is x. Now 1x divided by x is 1. Do not forget to put the 1 here. You have to put the 1. It's kind of like a placeholder. If I multiply this x back through, x times 3x, you get 3x squared. X times negative 1, you get negative 1x. And if there was nothing here, it would be x times 3x would be 3x squared, and that would be it, which is not the same as 3x squared minus x. So x times 3x minus 1 is my factored, is this factored. So I now have my two equations. I have x equals 0, and then I have 3x minus 1 equals 0. That one's done. And then I have I solve it, and I get x equals 1/3. So there you go. So your first step, which we're really going to focus on today, is this factoring step. It's this factoring step. And then you go ahead and solve like you did yesterday, which I think you didn't have much of a problem with. All right, let's turn to page 52. And we'll start off with number 13. So, and it might be better to use a pencil just because sometimes I don't get the full factor and I have to erase and recheck it. So let's do this. So first we need to factor the polynomial. Oh, we're not even solving it. We are just factoring. That's great. We get to practice factoring right now. So what do I have common in the 6 and the 3? Well, I've got 3 is common because 6 is divisible by 3 and 3 is divisible by 3. And then I look, this has 2 x's, this has 1 x, so I can take out 1 x. 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. X divided by x is also 1. 1 times 1 is 1, so I have 3x, 2x plus 1. Make sure not to put 11, right? Because x divided by x is 1, 3 divided by 3 is 1, it's 1 times 1. So that is my factored version right there. All right, let's go over here. Let's see what we could factor out of an 18 and a 6. They're both divisible by 2. Let's try that. Both divisible by 2, and then I have 4 u's and I have 1 u, so I can take out 1 u. So I'm left with 18 divided by 2 is 9. U to the 4th divided by u is u to the 3rd. 6, so it's minus, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. U divided by u is 1, so there we go. Wait a second. Look at this. Both the 9 and the 3 are both divisible by 3. So let's take out another 3 because we need to factor these down as far as they will go. We can't stop if there's more factoring to be done. Both of them are divisible by 3. So let's pull out another 3. And it's not plus, it's times. So 3. The 2u is already here. So 9 divided by 3, I get 3u to the 3rd. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And now these can be combined. 3 times 2u is 6u times 3u to the 3rd minus 1. Now, could I have done that in one step? I totally could have, if I had seen that 18 and 6 are both divisible by 6. I said, oh, they're both divisible by 6. I could have pulled out a 6. I could have pulled out a u. 18 divided by 6 is 3. U to the 4th divided by u is u to the 3rd. 6 divided by 6 is 1. U divided by u is 1. So look, I get the same answer. 6u times 3u to the 3rd minus 1. So I get the same answer. So factoring may take multiple steps. I could have factored out the 2 first, and then in the next step factored out the u, and then in the next step factored out the 3. You can do it in steps if you need to. All right, so 24 and 8, what's it common? Well, I could do 2 again. I could do 4. They're both divisible by 4. And I could do 8. They're both divisible by 8, so I'm actually going to pull out an 8. 3 h's, 1 h, so I can pull out 1 h. So 24 divided by 8 is 3. H to the 3rd divided by h is h squared. 8 divided by 8 is 1. h divided by 8 is 1. H is 1. So I get 8h times 3h squared plus 1. That's as simplified as I can get. So I want you to practice that factoring. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to factor first, and then we're going to solve. So let's do some factoring. 6 and 1, so it's 1, it's the common, and then k, 2k's and 1k. So the only thing I could factor out of this one is 1k. So I'm left with 6, k squared divided by k is k. K divided by k is 1. So I have k times 6k plus 1. So I have k equals 0, and I have 6k plus 1 equals 0. That one's already done. Minus 1, 6k equals negative 1. Divided by 6, and I get k equals negative 1/6. So step number 1, factor. Step number 2, solve the equation. All right, let's move on. Oh, 35 and 49. I'll give you a hint. They're both divisible by 7. All right. 21. I have 4 and 52. Let's see. Is 52, is that divisible by 4? I know it's divisible by 2. 52 divided by 4. Yes, it's 13. So I can pull a 4 out. There's 2 z's and 1 z, so I can pull out a z. So 4z squared. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. Z squared divided by z is z. 52 divided by 4, I just did that in the calculator, and I got 13. Z divided by z is 1. There it is. There's my factored version. Now that it's fully factored, I can solve it. 4z equals 0. Z plus 13 equals 0. So I have z equals 0. Z equals negative 13. There's my 2 solutions. Boom. If it's clicking, it will be easy, maybe even fun, maybe. If it's not, we're going to need to practice a little bit because it can get difficult. All right. Well, look at this. I have 22s equals 11s squared. So what I'm going to do, because I want it to equal 0 to solve it, is I'm going to subtract 22 from both sides, 22s. So what I have on this side is 0. 11s squared minus 22s. Now, do I have anything common with the 11 and the 22? I do. They're both divisible by 11. I'm going to flip this over so that it's easier for me to work left to right. So they're both divisible by 11, and they both have 1s. This has 2 s's. This has 1s, so I can take out 1s. 11 divided by 11 is 1. S squared divided by s is s. So 1s. Don't need the 1 because I have the s. Minus 22 divided by 11 is 2. S divided by s is 1. I already have 2. I don't need the 1. So there it is. 11s equals 0. S minus 2 equals 0. Divided by 11. Fs equals 0. Add 2. Fs equals 2. All right. Finish the rest of those, and we will see you tomorrow. Ask any questions if you have any questions. Give a call to the school. So I'll leave that on there.